It's gonna be awesome.
How's it going, everybody? Today I'm going to cover how to properly dye plastic parts and vinyl parts, stuff like that, for interiors of cars and trucks. This is ABS plastic, it's a gauge pod, and this is a door armrest. Now this one here is made out of some sort of rubber material. Like I said, this one's ABS. Now both of these can be coated by vinyl dyes, and there's a lot of different companies out there. The one that I prefer is this SIM color coat, and you can get this at Summit Racing. I'm sure you can find it online all over the place. Different paint suppliers, automotive paint suppliers. Also, you have companies called Marhide, and I believe Duplicolor is now making them. And then your local auto paint supply store, sometimes they have the stuff to make them themselves. They can mix it for you. So a couple different options. First thing we're gonna do is clean these. And this was previously painted with like rattle can paint. That won't work. And it's metallic, so it's the wrong color anyways. It will dry hard and it'll eventually crack and peel and whatnot. This stuff bites into your product and actually adheres very well, and it lasts, you know, a good amount of time, years, honestly, if you properly take care of it. So first thing we need to do is clean it. So what I'm going to do for that is we're going to use some lacquer thinner. You can get this at Home Depot or anything like that. Now, acetone would probably work pretty good. Mineral spirits isn't that aggressive, so it would just take a lot longer. So I prefer lacquer thinner because it is more aggressive, and we'll be able to get this paint off fairly quickly. Now, one of the things you just saw me do there was when I take my lacquer thinner, mineral spirits, whatever I'm cleaning with, I always take and dump it onto the rag, okay, like that. Most people have a tendency to want to take the rag and put it up against the can and then pour like that. The problem with that is when you do that, some of the lacquer thinner or whatever you're using will go from the rag back into the can, contaminating your can. So whatever you're cleaning is now in your can. So if you use this for any paint stuff in the future, this can is now contaminated and it's garbage, in my opinion. So never do that. Always take and pour onto the rag and then use the rag. That way your can maintains being clean. So now that I have this part clean and I've got the old paint off of it, I could spray this honestly the way it is. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a Scotch-Brite and just rough it up a tiny bit just to give it a little bit more adhesion. And also I'm going to clean this plastic part. Now on these plastic parts, ABS parts and whatnot, you do have to be somewhat careful because lacquer thinner and aggressive stuff like that can actually melt the plastic. So you have to be careful. Rubbing alcohol is probably the best thing to use on plastic parts. On vinyl and rubber, stuff like this, lacquer thinner is fine. It's not going to hurt it. I'm going to use a standard 3M Scotch-Brite pad to prepare the surface and basically give it a little bit more adhesion. Now, when you sand or Scotch-Brite something like this, basically what that does is it kind of opens up these little microscopic scratches. Basically, it increases the surface area, and that gives the paint or dye in this case something to adhere to. And the nice part about this SIM or Duplicolor or any of those that are made for vinyls and whatnot is they remain flexible, so they won't crack or peel on you later on if you prepare them properly. Now, eventually, if your arm rubs on it enough or whatever, use the part enough, you can rub through, and then you can recoat it, and that's not a big deal. Now, it's important to clean these things really well before you start to prepare the surfaces because of the oils from your skin or oils from your hands or whatever getting on these parts. You want to clean it first and then Scotch-Brite it and then re-clean it before you paint it. So done preparing them, and you can see it's just a little bit duller and cleaned up. Now, one of the other parts that I didn't point out, one of the reasons you want to clean your parts before you sand them is it will contaminate your Scotch-Brite, and then you'll spread that stuff around all over the other parts. So now this is still clean, and I can use it for other projects in the future without having to worry about contamination. So now that I'm ready to clean these for the last time before I start to dye them, I want to clean them with something that will work well for removing grease and oil, stuff like that, and also not be too hard on plastics. Now, lacquer thinner would be fine on this rubber piece, but on this plastic, it's a little bit aggressive. One thing that works really good for cleaning parts like this before you're painting them or dyeing them or whatever is wax and grease remover. Now, this is something that can be purchased at auto parts stores sometimes, Summit Racing, or a local auto paint supply store. So, and the good part is wax and grease remover is not too aggressive for plastic parts like this, so it's actually perfect. So I'll do my final cleaning with wax and grease remover, and then I'm ready to start dyeing. So now that I have one good coat on here, I'll let this dry, and it'll kind of dull up when it dries. So once that dries really good, then I'll come back and I'll stick a second coat on it, or possibly even a third. And there you have it. I ended up putting about 3.5 coats on these. They have been drying for about 5 minutes or less. I'm already touching them. So it dries pretty dang fast. I would wait probably about an hour before installing these on the vehicle. So, but you can see it dries pretty fast, and it's not that warm outside right now. I think it's, yeah, it's not even 60 degrees outside. So of course I'm working in a shop. So, but yeah, there you go. Uniform looking sheen. Looks like the original pieces. And the cool part is, now let's say you dyed something like this and then your door panel is pretty faded. What you can do is mask off your door panel, and you can actually install this piece and then even just mist a tiny bit around the piece to kind of blend it and make it more uniform and not stand out. Of course, you could do the whole door panel, but then you might have to do the kick panels and the B-pillar panels and just the whole entire truck. But if you don't want to do that, like I said, you can just kind of blend it in with the surrounding pieces, and it will work out perfectly if you do it right. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. Please like and subscribe down below. And if you like videos like this involving restoration, repair, and light-duty diesel performance, this is the channel for you. Also, check out our website, patriotdieselparts.com, where you can look at new merches coming out like this and pick up restoration, repair, and performance products for light-duty diesel trucks. Thanks for watching.